back to a brand new video. Today, we're gonna the most scariest, I think you could say, vids. So the 7 scariest, creepy, true story animated vids. Let's get on with it. This is our first one. What was she planning to do with me? Okay, whatever.
Kevin had just turned 21, so he and his friend decided to go to a bar one night and was approached by a cute girl named Candace. He didn't know she was just trying to get free drinks by flirting, so he told her that they didn't have much money. However, Candace was the one who offered, and she kept buying more and more. Kevin started getting confused as to who she liked more between him and David and why she was being so generous. A little later, they both carried David out the bar. She kept telling him to go and offered to get his friend walked to Candace's car. Kevin wanted to be able to door and came out with juice, so Kevin was able to make, but she made. He just felt stripped over up. All Candace girl up in the taxi cab too. Back when Sarah was 17, she worked at a small local bakery. There were less than 15 employees spread across all the
sorry guys, I had to skip that one. I don't think that was so very nice.
One of these people was Dave, the delivery driver. From the first time they met, Dave immediately gave Sarah an off vibe. He was in his mid-50s and way too friendly to a teenage girl. But the boss told her that yes, he could be annoying, but no one worked harder than he did, so just ignore his antics. Sarah then recalled that when she signed the paperwork, they never asked her to submit a background check. And in hindsight, that should have been red flag number 2. Over the course of the year or so that she worked with Dave, Sarah tried very hard to ignore him. He was rarely outright creepy, but he was always just a bit too friendly. He would stick around long after his shift was over to talk to her and another pastry chef. He always wanted to lick the bowl after she finished making Rice Krispie treats. He would always stand in front of the racks or equipments or ingredients just enough that sometimes her hand would brush him while reaching for something. Dave always stood just a little too close. Dave was constantly asking Sarah about her life, what she liked, what she did for fun, if she had a boyfriend. Almost daily, he would tell her how a nice girl like her should have a boyfriend, how maybe a boyfriend would be good for her. Sarah let this slide because sometimes older people can say things that were meant differently in their time. But then it was the concert invites. Every other week, he had tickets to one concert or another. Once he figured out Sarah's favorite genre.
Guys, I don't know if you can be watching this. Let's go on a different one. Scary animations. No, accidentally put that on. Oh yeah, this one.
In all my years of being a police officer in Floyd County, Georgia, I had only experienced 2 horrifying situations. I'll share with you the worst of the 2. It was a slow night, and I was patrolling the dirt roads in my cruiser. At this particular spot, there were tiny woods on both sides of the road. And then it all started. I spotted somebody jumping into the woods on the left. I only saw half of them, though. They were gone so quickly. I pulled up closer and shined the spotlight into the woods. I didn't see them.
That is creepy, though.
Unfortunately, it was kind of my job to check on things like this, so I hesitantly stepped out from the car and began searching. In a moment like this, I was so ready to pull my gun, as I was actually terrified. And then, the cliched snap of a branch from behind a tree almost made me want to run back to the car, but I instead did my job and called for them to come out. Someone wearing a mask stepped out from the tree.
That is creepy.
I told them to raise their arms, take off their mask, and come to me slowly. They raised their hands, but they didn't remove the mask. I tried to demonstrate my authority by yelling this time, ordering them to take it off. They looked as if they were about to take it off, when suddenly, he or she looked to their left, and then back at me. I heard footsteps coming from my right. I drew my gun. I yelled as loud as I could for everybody to come out with their hands up. You may be thinking, why? Well, if you were in this position, in this setting, you would have been shitting yourself just like I was. Another person wearing a mask walked over. This one holding an axe. I had my gun locked on him. But suddenly, footsteps started coming from all directions. I looked around, and I was surrounded. There were at least 10 strangers wearing masks, surrounding me almost in a circle, with only an opening behind me. Half of them were armed with axes and the like. I stood there, gun raised, but not even aimed at anything at this point. I felt like I was going to throw up. One of them, I'm not sure which, finally broke the silence, telling me in a muffled, deep voice, "Go away." My heart dropped as he said this, in a way that I knew I was going to live. I turned and ran for the car, driving down the road half a mile, all while calling for backup. As you would guess, the whole group was gone from the woods when a search squad arrived. I have a theory on this, however. I believe that what I witnessed was some kind of fucked up secret society that was planning on trapping an innocent passerby, and I think that whoever jumped into the woods as I was passing recognized my car as a police car and tried to hide. Had I not been a police officer, I believe they would have stopped me, led me to the woods, and done whatever this group does for its sick kicks.
Is that it? Is that it for the entire vid? But that was creepy anyway. Oh guys, I've watched this one. It's very creepy.
At the time of this story, I had already met a total of 3 people on Match.com. It didn't really work out with a girl named Kyler and seemed really quiet in person. The next thing I saw was the silhouette of Kylie at my door suddenly charge at me in my bed as she began to scream. She lunged at me and put her hands around my throat, the insane girl downstairs by the time the cops came. The cops took her away to fill out a few documents. I think it's safe to say that you should always meet people from websites and apps in a safe, public place first.
And left my door cracked open before I got back into bed. I went to the bathroom in the middle of the night after some nightmares and left my door cracked open before I got back into bed. When I fell asleep, I dreamt that I was outside my room. In the dream, I saw my door cracked open. I pushed it open and saw myself sleeping.
By the way, guys, this is not just a creepy vid. This is actually a try not to laugh vid as well. So there are 2 topics in one vid. I don't know the name for this vid. I really don't.
When I woke up, my door was wide open.
Oh, guys, this is creepy now. I'm getting chills all over my body. That isn't such a good thing. Creepy Home Alone
When
story.
I was a teenager, I was home alone one weekend and I was sleeping in my parents' room since there was a TV in there. Sometime around 2 a.m., I felt like I was being stared at from the direction of the hallway. I looked up and I saw a shadow person looking at me. It was weird because it was a pure man-shaped black mass and I could see him in the dark hallway. I'm guessing the light from the TV helped. I sat up and stared back, but I was terrified. We looked at each other for probably 5 seconds and then it turned around and walked down the hall. A few seconds later, I heard a loud crash. I was so scared I turned the TV to the Disney Channel and stayed awake for as long as possible. When I woke up the next morning, I walked down the hall to the bathroom, and that's when I noticed a mirror that was hanging had fallen off the wall and was shattered. My family still doesn't believe me, but I know what happened.
Guys, these are some short vids.
This happened to a friend of mine. She told me about it about a year or so ago. We'll call her Minji. Minji is in her late 20s and works as an English tutor in South Korea. One evening, a few years ago, she was tutoring a high school boy. They were up studying pretty late and the buses stopped running. Being a long way from his house, the boy asked if he could crash on her floor overnight and get the first bus in the morning. Minji was very reluctant because inviting a teenage male student to stay the night didn't sound like a great idea, but he was begging her and eventually she relented. They went back into her one-room apartment and she got into the bed while he laid a blanket out on the floor and they both fell asleep. A few hours later, at maybe 2 a.m., the boy wakes Minji up. "I'm really hungry," he says. "Let's go get some food." Minji opens her eyes and looks up at him in disbelief. "Food? Now? It's 2 a.m. Go back to bed." But the student insists. "No, I'm so hungry. Let's eat something now." She tells him that there's some ramen in the kitchen and he could fix himself some. This doesn't satisfy him. He doesn't want ramen. "There's a 24-hour place just down the road. Let's go there." Eventually, after several minutes of persuasion, the boy gets Minji to come with him to the restaurant. They leave the apartment and head out. As soon as they're on the street, the boy turns to Minji and says, "I'm not hungry. I woke up in the middle of the night and looked under your bed. There's a man sleeping there." They call the police and discover that a homeless man had been living in Minji's apartment, sleeping under the bed for 2 months. The boy only saw him because he was lying on the floor, so he had a clear view under the bed. My friend told me about something that happened to her when she was younger, about 8 or 9. She was walking home from school and got her key out to let herself into the house. Her single mom worked and came home later on weekdays. As she reached up to put the key in the door, her mom opened it in a dressing gown, having left work sick. Instead of greeting her, she looked straight past my friend and immediately said, "Who are you?" My friend turned around, and a man in a long coat hurried back down the path and down the street. Being ill that day had possibly saved her daughter from something potentially horrible happening to her.
Oh, he was ready to kidnap. What? That was like 5 seconds. Oh, this one's gonna be long. I have a
One day while
feeling.
doing my laundry, one of the lights blew out in my basement. My basement is set up so that the laundry room is split up from the other side of the basement with a wall and a door. In order to get upstairs, you have to exit the laundry room and go through the other part of the basement. So the light blew in the other part, not the laundry room. As it was the only light on that side, it was pretty dark. I finished the laundry I had to do while dreading the walk through the dark basement. I exit the laundry room, get halfway through the basement, and I hear a loud cackle. Imagine a sound people make when they imitate a witch. Take that and imagine the witch had been smoking for 50 years, making her voice deeper and hoarser. That's what I heard, clear as day, right behind me. I didn't hesitate to
Okay, guys, this is getting way too creepy.
I waited until my
Let's
father
move
got
on to
home and changed the bulb. I have yet to get
try not to laugh. Okay.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
Okay. I guess, alright, that's very nice.
I'm gonna prank my dad.
Oh. GG. What the flip? What? What?
From the Manatee County Fair?
I didn't get that one.
ABC7, would you not eat my pants? Ah!
Oh. Alright, I mean that's okay. Oh, okay, alright, alright. Okay, man, okay, chill, dude, chill. Alright. Oh, that's what I would do. Oh my. Oh.
You are unattractive in the face region, where your father's offspring because he is ugly as well. Dad.
Oh.
Wind yesterday, but at least we didn't have a tornado. But looks like there's a tornado out there right now. But don't worry, it's a good tornado. Are you ready, Larry? This is going to be delicious. This is a candy corn tornado. Yum, yum.
I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, that was corny. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Alright, don't know what's wrong. What?
That's got to be the best part I've ever seen. So it would seem.
Travis, I was curious. Speaking about pants here, how do you keep your pants up when you're performing? It's incredible. Bill.
Yeah, you need a belt. You're so stupid. You need a belt.
I caught up with Chelsea and Michael, who were jogging by and were nice to just stop for a quick second. And I said, "What are you doing running?" And you're saying it was really good out? It's the perfect texture for running. Very low impact on its dry snow, so your feet don't get wet. All right, thanks. We're seeing a lot of people out here, like you said, running, sledding, just enjoying it. One thing, oops, that can happen, unfortunately.
Oh my. I'm done with this. End of the video here, guys. We're out, guys. Bye. And you know what to do. Peace out. JK. I was joking about that. He really thought that I was serious. No. Alright. Oh no, please. Oh my god, what the hell? No, what are those? What? Yeah, I want to see this dog's face or whatever it is. Sonic the Hedgehog! You see how fast I am? I'm such a fast kid. You don't even know what I'm doing, do ya? Oh. Oh.
I've noticed in watching some of the tapes on self-defense that a lot of guys like to show defense from awkward positions, say sitting in a chair, having your back turned, whatever. So what I'd like to do is demonstrate a technique which I call defense against a guy in a chair. Excuse me. Martial arts. Do I look?
What would you
Okay.
do if there was a child right in front of you?
Hello, sir. Good news. The surgery was a complete success, and everything went amazing. We successfully did surgery on a grape.
Kylie Jenner to the foyer. I have a little surprise for you.
What? What? Are these animals trained? Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna have to end off the video here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.